Lights out, we're underway. Motorsport Republica podcast.
Chris Vermeulen, welcome back to our Motorsport Republica podcast. It's a bit of a common theme having you on once a year now, I think, but it's good to be here over Zoom and a nice plant in the background, but it's good to see you.
Hey, mate, I live it up, don't I? Plant in the background. So, no, it's great. It's great. I think this is the third time on the podcast.
Yep.
Love what you guys do. And yeah, really happy to be back. So,
you're so generous with your time, Chris. So I really appreciate it.
No stress. No, I love it. I love it. It's good fun.
Beautiful. How's everything going? How's life up in Queensland? I know you moved places, but how's everything going for you anyway?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Just busy. We're building a new house at the moment. We've got some land, trying to ride motorbikes when I can. I get out of my dirt bikes a bit. I was doing some motorbike riding today, long story short, with Bridgestone. So riding some different tyres they've got at the moment. And a lot going on. My kids are getting older, so I spend a lot of time doing the dad thing and I've got two girls and I'm trying to keep them riding motorbikes and keep them interested in sports they do and all sorts of things. But yeah, life's good at the moment.
I love it. Are they gravitating to bikes or other sports, or what's the...
It's funny, my wife likes horses, so that's why I'm broke. But no, the girls, look, they're sport rotten. They got motorbikes, they got ponies. But they're not really the oldest is into tennis and the younger one's into soccer at the moment. But they're still quite young. But I'm happy to support them in whatever they do. I hope they don't race motorbikes because I know how hard it is. But I know every sport's hard, right? So I want them to enjoy themselves.
Or ride horses.
Yeah, I'll be broke forever. You got it.
It's like going into tennis. It must be one of the hardest sports to actually get into and start earning a living from it.
My oldest, they both play. My oldest plays really well, but you watch the top level of that sport, and I'd love it if she takes it to a higher level, but I can understand why you wouldn't. And you know, the mental intensity at any level of sport. By watching tennis, it's inspiring, especially the top players. You know what they can do.
It's very true. We used to play tennis back in the day, and I remember
we've tried a bit of everything.
We have tried a bit of everything. And I played as a 15-year-old, and I thought I was pretty handy. Had a couple of trophies, and I remember going up against this little Asian kid. He would have been 12, and he beat me 6-love, and I was just like, why am I even trying? He was that good. It's just so funny.
Yeah, it's funny because when my oldest daughter's 11 now, nearly 12, and I started playing with her a year or two ago, and you got to hit this soft ball over. Now it's like, where'd that come from? You know, there's these decent shots start to come back. So it's the same, even riding motorbikes or driving buggies around the farm. They get better and more competitive at everything. So that's good.
It's funny. Now, reason for you on the podcast, we want to talk MotoGP with you. What are you thinking of season 2025? And did you see Marquez absolutely obliterating everyone like he has?
Yes. I actually thought he was going to do it a year earlier. Maybe not as competitive.
You did say that.
You said it on our podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, I think Marc, when he gets on the Ducati, he's going to be dominant. I think that the 23 to 24 Ducati was too much of a step. But it's funny, talking to his crew chief last year, Frankie Carcetti. I've known Frankie for a long time, been in the paddock, Superbikes and Grand Prix together. And he said, when the best rider gets on the best bike, it's going to be a bit like Hamilton when he was on the Mercedes and just be so dominant. And we're seeing it now. And I don't even think Marc's at his limit. I know early in the year, he made a few silly mistakes, but really we're not seeing the Marquez crashes. So yeah, it's impressive. And I've got some good mates that are Marquez fans. I've got some good mates that are Rossi fans.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and I'm sure you guys deal with that. And
we deal on a daily basis.
like people from one side see it one way and other from the other. And look, I was a massive Rossi fan, and I've been up and I've raced against him. And I haven't raced against Marc, but I know Marc pretty well. And I love watching the guy go to work, you know, and what he can do. And it's like when Mick was winning so many, Mick Doohan. A lot of Aussies didn't complain, right? But now there's people complaining about how well Marc's doing. And it's an interesting dynamic. But it's been impressive. And the drive that the guy has got to want to be there. And let's face it, he's won so much already. He doesn't need to do it for money. He doesn't need to do it for anything else. But it's cool to watch, I reckon.
Yeah, it's incredible. What do you think, from your point of view, what's been Bagnaia's downfall? Because that's probably been equally as down as Marquez has been up. So that's a
Look,
question we get on a daily
yeah.
basis.
My personal opinion, his biggest downfall is Marquez is in the garage next to him.
Yeah, it's
It's
mental.
just a mental thing. And
Mm.
I think Pecco's always been with someone, even last year fighting against Jorge Martin, and he had advantages over Martin in places. I think when he just sits down and it's just, well, Marc can do that. And even if I'm at my limit, Marc can do that, like all the time. I think it's a mental thing, but I'm not in the garage and I don't know. It's just watching from the outside, but that's the way I see it. And yeah, maybe the bike is a little bit more suited, or something that Pecco can't get his head around that Marc can get his head around. But again, it's a mental thing, I reckon.
What I just struggle to understand is how it can be so different from one year to another.
It's crazy.
Like,
and it's funny. It's a funny sport, and we talk so small differences. And I've raced at the top, and I've won a Grand Prix, I've won World Superbike races, and I've finished in nearly last place. And it might be within 12 or 18 month period of each other. And you go, how was that so hard? And yet when you're at the front, it feels so easy, right? So, but it's putting all the pieces together, and it's all the pieces. And it comes down to every person that's working on your bike in the garage, the equipment you've got underneath you, your mental state, how things are at home, how your preparation was. Like, there's so many elements, and a couple little things aren't quite right, and it's difficult to win at this level. They're the best guys on the best bikes. It's that simple.
Yeah, 100%. And in your opinion, going into the garage, and if your teammate is Marc Marquez, would you think that's more, I guess, pressure or stress on you compared to, no disrespect to any other rider, like just say a Zarco, but does that just put that much more heat on yourself as a rider?
I don't know. I can't say because I haven't had the experience. So I've had some good teammates, but I haven't had, let's face it, it's going to be Rossi, Stoner, or Marc. Or back in the day, Doohan or Agostini. So I didn't have any of those guys as a teammate. So I can't say, look, I've had some fast teammates in John Hopkins, in Loris Capirossi, at different stages, but is it? And I had Alex Barros in the teammate, I'm a Honda bike, but I didn't have someone like a Marc Marquez. So I can't say. I think it would be fantastic because as a rider, you got to grow from it. But Pecco's already a two-time world champion, so he's already somebody that's at this level. And then you get someone else that's here, but is he really here? I don't know. I would have thought it was fantastic to learn from, but I haven't been in that situation. So it's a difficult one. Yeah, and it must be hard. So I've been on track with Casey, and I was talking to a friend today about that, and there's a couple of guys that I've raced against that I've gone, wow, they've actually done things that I don't know could be done on a motorcycle. And there's Noriyuki Haga and Casey Stoner, the only guys I've really been on track with that I go, like I've been on track with Rossi winning races. I've been on track with Lorenzo, Pedrosa, lots of very, very fast, capable guys. And then you see what Casey does and you go, oh, I'm at my limit. I'm at my peak. I've ridden as good as I've ever going to ride today, and I can't beat that guy. So maybe that's what it is like to be in the garage with Marc Marquez or Casey Stoner or someone like that.
Yeah, that's such an interesting point. And I think going back to like the whole Ducati thing, they share data. So Pecco Bagnaia can read Marc Marquez's data and think, how does he do that? And it's right in front of him, but it still must be a mental toll at the same time.
And it's funny, and all the manufacturers generally share data. So, all the Honda guys will get everyone's, and all the Yamaha guys, and Ducati got the most bikes out there, so they will see it all. It's an interesting one when you're riding at this level, right? So you're out there competing, you're looking, every lap of your weekend is going to be within 1 second. And to put that into it's pretty hard. If you go onto a track day and you go out there and your whole day is within 1 second, your first lap is fast on the limit, and every lap is within, doesn't matter what tires you're on or how you're going. And then your engineer comes and says, look at this. And you're with your data guy and your engineer, and your teammate or the other guy on the same bike is doing this slightly different. You're already on the absolute limit. right? Your front wheel is sliding, your back wheel is sliding, you're trying to load the bike, you're moving your body around, you're doing everything, and you're going, geez, how do I change that? So sometimes you have to go slower to go faster. It's a really strange thing when you're at the limit, but you see someone do something more or different, or they're faster in that area. How does that happen? And just because you see the data of them doing it, it doesn't mean that you can go out there and do it. It's a strange one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's really something that we haven't seen in MotoGP, I guess, in a long time, is this, or really ever, this situation where someone comes back, goes to this team where, and MotoGP right now is dominated by kind of manufacturers and Ducati. So
yeah,
we're almost in uncharted waters at the moment with really what's happening, and like seeing the decline of, I guess, I won't say the decline of Bagnaia, but like if Marquez wasn't on that bike, people would be saying the GP25 is a disaster.
Exactly, because you look at what Digi's doing, and he's a great rider, right? He's a good rider. He's won a race or races in the past. And you look at Pecco Bagnaia. But if Marc wasn't there, would Pecco be doing well? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's that thing, but you're exactly right. Without that 25, without Marc there, how good is the GP25? We don't really know. So, yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think last year's bike was very, very good. And this is, you guys might clarify, I don't know all the rules. And most riders, you'll find most riders don't. But next year, 2020, like, I know they can't go forward with the engines. They're frozen. But can they go back to could Pecco theoretically go back to a GP24?
Well, that's what they're saying. It's going to be a brand new shiny GP24 next year for Ducati. That's what they've said in the press. So yeah, it's it just goes against everything that Ducati's about. I mean, it's, as we said, we put a poster in the week. It's supposed to be the easiest bike to ride, and anyone could jump on it. And you look at Aldeguer this year; he's jumped on that bike, a rookie, and had a really good result.
Yep.
But just the GP25, and it's just amazing how they can go that backwards, but then also win 90% of the race.
Nearly everything.
I know. We put a post up and we're like, is the GP25 a failure? And like, we know it's not.
A failure or success.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Like, it's not.
Repsol Honda.
Yes. It's again the same thing.
The Honda, no one could do anything on the Honda, right? Except Marquez is winning championships and races. Like, so is the bike any good or not? Like, it's hard, isn't it? It's very hard. Yeah.
I guess it's just the ironic when Marquez jumps on that bike, starts winning, but then everyone else starts struggling. It's just like the Honda. But also, Marc has had zero development on that Ducati. Like, he rode a GP23 last year. Like, there's.
Thank you. And then he got on and like he had 2 or 3 tests to get himself ready. So Pecco had as much input or more input than Marc has to build the bike. So you can't blame Marc for trying to build a bike a certain way. Yeah.
It was amazing. We were in Toprak this year and saw Marc win, and just it was just incredible to see. And you just got to look back and where he's come from and what's happened to him. And he's still injured. He's still carrying injuries from that day. So it's incredible. Probably the best comeback story in motorsport history.
I think so. And to come back, it's a massive statement, the best. Doohan's was pretty insane as well.
Yeah, good point.
It's a long time ago. But to nearly lose your leg, it's the same level as and then to go and win 5 championships in a row, pretty insane as well. But what Marc's done is Marc. But the difference between Mick and Marc, Mick hadn't actually won a championship at that point. He would have, but then injured in that first year. Marc he's already been one of the most successful riders ever, and then had the injury. So the want, the drive to come back from that, it's you're putting everything on the line. It's very impressive.
I know, and just wild to take the punts on a privateer team like Grassini, and then really take a massive pay cut, lose the Red Bull sponsorship and all that just to win. Like, and it kind of puts you in his mindset of no wonder he's doing this or won so much when he's already sacrificed so much just to win again. Like,
but and when I know the sport's changed as a whole now, and to get to MotoGP, there's all these roads to MotoGP. But everyone if my era passed, the reason you got there is because you loved riding motorbikes. So you were there because you loved it, and Marc still loves it, and that's why he's winning. I think there's been other riders in the past that have been pre my era, and I remember them saying, you know, I did well, and then you start to make money, and then you're riding for the money, and that's the wrong reasons. The results don't come, you know. So you can see that Marc's there because he loves riding motorbikes. He's addicted to winning, and he wants to be the best there is. So that's the recipe for success. You know,
how big's the Rossi motivator for him? Do you think? Do you think the media
I don't know.
plays it up,
I don't know if we'll know. He's clever, isn't he?
Yeah.
Rossi, he learned from the best. He learned from Rossi. You know, very clever with the media and what to put out. There's got to be something there, and there's got to be the drive to beat a lot of Valentino's records. I think, like, let's face it, like Valentino was his hero. He came up against him. Their dispute in, was it 2015, was massive.
10-year anniversary. Winning in San Marino 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time. I
don't think Marc's going to go dirt tracking in
No.
Let's say that.
I don't think so. How Chris, it was brought back a lot of memories. Le Mans this year with Zarco winning. Obviously on that LCR, sort of a lot of people compared that to your win, and it came up a lot in the media. That must have been pretty special.
It was cool, and I think Johan's great. I'm a big fan of his. I love the way he goes about his work. He's a little bit quirky. He loves riding his bike as well, and had a lot of success. I think a lot of people that aren't MotoGP fans don't realize he's a 2-time in a row Moto2 world champion. Like, the guy has some speed and some talent. But yeah, cool to see. And what he's done on the Honda this year, it's been pretty special, I think, to win that race, to be competitive. I think the Suzuka 8-hour, I've done an 8-hour once. I did an 05 for second. And it takes away from your championship. So I think the Zarco's struggling now. It's hard to go to Japan, do all the testing.
So Tommy, anyway, I've been looking at getting a new helmet.
Okay, right you are.
A replica helmet.
Okay.
So I'm looking at either like a Marquez, Shoei, Rossi AGV, or controversially like a Nakagami Arai. What do you think?
Well, I think Nakagami Arai might not be a bad idea because they'd have to build them strong. You know, repeat hits throughout the whole weekend.
That's right.
Where would you find something like that?
Mate, motoheaven.com.au. They have all the helmet brands that you want. They've got all the racing suits, jackets, big brands, HJC, Shoei, Dainese, Alps. Mate, they have everything. How good's that?
That is so good. And I heard like there's free delivery over $150 as well.
Free delivery over $150. Super fast dispatch, which is amazing all around the country. They do an excellent job. You just check out their Google reviews. It's like all 5 stars. It's pretty amazing. They do a great job.
Give the people the website.
motoheaven.com.au. Check them out. They are the best in the business for all your motorcycle needs. And they've got a parts finder. You can get all the parts you want, brake discs, chains, sprockets, spark plugs. I know that's all gobbledygook to you, Tom, but that is they are the best in the business. Head down to motoheaven.com.au and they will look after you.
Get on a superbike, ride a different tire, different suspension, get your head around all that, come back to racing this thing. I think that's Zarco's struggle at the moment. In 05, I think it lost me the World Superbike Championship, to be honest, but it got me a GP ride,
Yeah.
So there's reasons you do it. So I think that's been hard for Johan. I think we'll see his true potential in the next 3 or 4 rounds again. I think it'll all come back riding the GP bike. I reckon that's Jack struggling in the last couple of races as well, getting over there riding the that R1 instead of the M1, and just the difference in the tire and everything else. And hopefully we'll see some Miller speed again as well. But it's been cool to see what Zarco's done. It's great to see Honda coming back on. MotoGP without the Japanese manufacturers at the front just isn't the same. So hopefully Honda gets stronger, and hopefully Yamaha as well, and we see them back fighting.
Yeah, 100%. Like great call. And I was going to ask you, is it visible for you? And do you see any time in the future, or is it to the new regs where Honda and maybe Yamaha can actually make a big leap? Because Honda, they've been getting top sixes with like Mir or Marini every now and then, but there's still, you can see that there's forward progress where Yamaha, I don't think there is, but they're still lacking that big gap.
Yeah, I agree. Look, Yamaha's problem is they got one guy that's really fast at the moment. Jack's had some good results, but he's had to get his head around the bike. Oliveira's been injured, and Alex Rins, as much as I love the guy, he can't walk.
That's right. Yeah,
paid every week.
You probably see him in the paddock.
Yeah,
and the poor guy, I just think he's struggling with injury still. He wants to be there, but. So Yamaha, in my opinion, Yamaha's issue is that they've got one really strong rider. Honda got a couple of guys that are strong, and I think they are showing their way. Can they do anything next year? Hopefully, their concessions allow them to catch up, and especially with Ducati and KTM sort of been held back a little bit. It's probably KTM's financial reasons as well, probably holding them back a bit. But I think it's going to be the new regs where we really see a change. But, let's wait and see.
It's very interesting with the Japanese manufacturers, because I agree, like MotoGP is not MotoGP without a Yamaha or Honda or whoever.
Well, and I'm still disappointed Suzuki aren't there,
for sure.
Like with all the Japanese manufacturers, it would be fantastic. But that's the way the sport's gone, and it's unfortunate that they're not there, but it's the way it is.
Yeah, we're talking on Monday night about Honda. Obviously, they're pretty set for next year with their riders. I think Diego Moreira is going to sign. Who knows who's going to sponsor that second bike? But I feel like they're just one superstar short. Like, I'm surprised they haven't gone for someone big and Acosta or, I don't know, even one of the KTM dudes. So it surprised me. James, you're happy with the lineup, but I feel like they just need someone who's a superstar. I don't see Mir or Marini and Zarco winning. They're not championship material for me.
No, they're not. And let's face it, Zarco's getting older now. There hasn't been a world. Rossi's the oldest world champion in the modern era. 32 years old or something. So
until the end of the year.
Till the end of the year. It's really a young man's sport, right? Yeah. So you're going to be in your peak from that mid-20s to your 30 years old, really, unless you're a Marquez or a Rossi or someone like that. But I agree. And this used to be Honda's way. Even if they didn't have the greatest rider coming into their fold early, they'd just pay up and get the great rider, right? But at the moment, they don't. But who is a great rider? It's sort of hard to tell. Unless you're on a Ducati, you're not doing well. So, Aldeguer's been fantastic this year, but if he got on that Honda, where would he be? I would have loved for him to make a call against Acosta, like try and get someone like Pedro, see what he could do on something. Yeah. But again, KTM, I've got him tied up. And who else could they go for? It is a tough one, isn't it?
Well, I thought for all money, Martin was leaving and going to Honda. That was my $1.01 crystal ball moment at the start of the year and Le Mans when all the shit hit the fan. Obviously, that didn't eventuate. And
was on to go as well. But Aprilia have obviously got that contract tighter than Martin or his management figured. And there's no doubt they spoke to Honda. And that's where he was going to go. But isn't it funny after the last round? He's PR mad all over the Aprilia now. Like he's just praising the bike and the team. I love Jorge Martin. I think he can go fast on the track because he's a character, and I think the sport needs guys like him. But it was a funny part to the year. Really, it's a shame he got injured because we've seen what Bez has done on that bike. That's been impressive, really impressive. Because if you ask me, Marco Bezzecchi is a fantastic rider and a really good guy. Is he world championship material? I'm not sure. But Jorge Martin has won one, so he knows how to do that. So you got to say Martin's got the edge over his teammate as a pure rider. And if Bez can win races on it, Martin's got to be someone that can challenge Marc under the right conditions.
Yeah, it is a shame. Like we really did miss out on that battle with Jorge Martin and Marc. And we've had this conversation a lot, and I still am never going to be swayed that he would beat Marc to this championship. I think there's no one on planet Earth that would beat him.
Yeah.
And I still think he would be 90 points ahead of everyone else anyway. Like I just can't see it happening. But going back to Bezzecchi, and we've said this as well, but I still think the Jorge Martin saga was the best thing for him. He had to take that Aprilia team by the balls and say, you know what, let's develop this bike. I'm the man now. You know, it's all around me, and then actually pull some results. No, you can't blame anyone else. Yeah, he has, and like he won Silverstone, and he's been consistent. Probably almost the second fastest rider consistently in the past 5 rounds.
Yeah, he has, and he's been, and I think it's been really impressive. I can't, and I felt bad sort of saying that before. If you put Bez and Martin together, Martin's your guy, but Marco Bezzecchi this year has really lifted his game, hasn't he? And I completely agree with you. It has been impressive to watch, and I hope he can prove me wrong and be the guy to take it to Marc. But I really think Jorge Martin, his speed last year on that one lap, you've got to imagine. I don't think he's going to win a Grand Prix this year, but I think Jorge Martin could win a sprint, qualify on the front row of the grid, be on the podium in some Grand Prix to come. So let's hope. But it's cool to see Aprilia there. Going into this year, we knew Marc was going to get the factory bike, but you know when there was all that talk last year, should Martin stay on if he wins a championship for Ducati and everything? I actually really wanted Marc Marquez to go to the Aprilia. I thought that would have been a challenge. And I still think Marc would be world champion if he was on that Aprilia.
Yeah. I that would be a wild thing to see. It's a wild thing to see him on a Ducati still, but yeah, you're right. He would still be a world champion on that bike. And, you know, we try and not make it a Marc Marquez podcast, which sometimes turns into that. But you just have to admire as just pure riding talent, just the speed and the skill and the determination the man has. Because
very much so.
Like it must be, and you would know, like it must be so difficult to get to that Grand Prix status to win, but then to just have it so it's like Marc Marquez, daylight, and then everyone else is just something else.
And like I say, Stoner at his peak was like that. Marc's just doing it for a longer period. But Rossi was like that. You know, Mick Doohan was like that. These guys, and the thing is, everyone else on that grid, it has credentials to be there, right? They've been a world champion or very, very close to a world championship. It's the best of the best, right? And then you are that much better than everyone else. It's crazy. And when you've been there and you've raced against, nobody's slow. Like, right. And it's funny when you watch Keyboard Warriors these days and they give people a hard time because that's the way the world's gone with social media. But I mean, maybe Chantra, but no, the guy can still ride a motorbike very fast. But I mean, you look at that mid pack and those guys are unbelievable. They are very, very fast. They'll go back to a domestic championship and blitz it.
Yeah.
You know? They'll go back to Moto2 and challenge for the world championship instantly. You know, they are the top of the top. They are the best riders. They deserve to be there. And that's what's impressive about someone that's great is they just take that extra level and be so dominant. That's what's impressive about Marc. Yeah,
100%. Couldn't agree more. And I need to speak to you about it because I was literally going to ask you that question. Somkat Chantra, he fascinates me in why he's on that grid and his results so far this year. Lucio Cecchinello has been pretty bullish on him in the media. He's tried to keep his words pretty safe, but he realistically came out and said, you know, we can't have another Asian rider on this bike if they're not up for it. And that's why obviously Diego Moreira's name's been thrown in. But how do you find that situation with Somkat Chantra going onto that Honda when realistically it should have been Iagura that should have gone onto that bike, but he wanted to forge his own path and be a bit smarter and go on the Aprilia? Do you think it's obviously they're within their rights to go on that bike, but do you think it's just a bit strange when, let's be honest, Aaron Canet or Moreira or Manu Gonzalez probably should be on that bike?
It's so political. It's still political. And it's all about money, right? And when there's more money, it becomes more political, and that was what I noticed when I was in Superbike and then motored to MotoGP. It's very political, and it's the passport. Let's face it, it's out and out. It's the sponsorship. It's the money it raises. You guys went to Buriram. You saw how big a star Suncat was, and to turn up there and be the first ever Thai rider to race in the Premier class, it was a bit like Haviz Shorin, I guess, when he got
him crying on the bloody pit lane and before the race. That was in Malaysia. That was wild.
I know, but the thing with Haviz, he did get some good results in the middle of the second year. So and people do take the chance, and Chantra showed that he could ride a Moto2 bike well at times. So all right, let's give the guy a chance. And let's face it, Fabio Quartararo won one Moto2 race. Like, he did nothing. He came in with all this expectation, went to so you can't completely go off, is the guy fast in Moto2? Does he deserve it? So they've gone, well, we'll give this guy a shot, see where he's at. But I think it's been a lot worse than anyone expected. But it's down to the passport. And you're right. And it's political. And even when I was there, Dorna support a lot of riders, right? The money goes to the teams for the riders. I came in 2006, the same year as a certain Mr. Casey Stoner. They didn't know which Aussie was going to be the next top guy. Dorna supported me to Suzuki for a couple of years, and then my last couple of years, Casey was world champion. So the money goes to, they need one Aussie, right? They don't need two Aussies. It's very interesting. And Moreira is going to come in. He deserves the ride, but he's also another nationality, right? And it brings an interest to another country. It's just the way it is. It's big business. It's billions of dollars now, the whole championship, and that's the way it rolls.
So does Dorna sort of give the team more money if they have a certain nationality rider in there? I
think they give the money, they support. This is probably a little bit off record, but back in my day, they supported teams with riders, right? So that there was some money that got shed around to help with freight and different things. And it could be $1 million. It could be €1 million a year towards a team in savings or this or benefits if they preferred to have that rider. It didn't mean that team had to take the rider, but there was assistance that comes in that way, right? So and it's money at the end of the day. And Chantra being on a MotoGP bike, imagine the money that brought in for the sport, the spectator numbers in Thailand. So there's got to be Dorna help going to LCR to get that, as well as the Itamitsu money and all that sort of stuff coming in. So it's political.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about this the last sort of 6 months about Liberty Media coming through and the amount of money that's now in the sport, but also probably the best time to invest in the sport. I mean, these grid slots are like gold at the moment.
Do you guys think it'll turn out like Formula One? I know Formula One has gone massive. When I raced in MotoGP, the viewing numbers, I mean, the drivers were still earning lots more and there's more money in the sport, but the TV viewing numbers, spectator numbers at the track weren't sort of that different to MotoGP. And now it's Formula One's tenfold, right? So Liberty coming in, and it's got a lot to do with that Drive to Survive series and the publicity, and Formula One's really become mainstream media in a lot more countries. Do you think it's going to happen in MotoGP? I don't know, because
no, it's not going to be the same.
I don't want to be negative about it, but it's like the Formula One drivers already fly around in private jets. They've got supermodels hanging off their arms. It is already a story that starts to make the show. MotoGP we're still very much industry driven sport. Like the money comes from Ducati, it comes from Honda, it comes from Yamaha. I don't know. I'm just interested, but I think it's Liberty is the best chance we got to try and make the sport a lot bigger.
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for improvement in advertising. I mean, we had 2 weeks ago, we had the 1000th Grand Prix in Austria.
I know.
And do we know about it?
How would you know about it? They could do so much. They could have. I know they had a few guys doing some Legends lap, but let's face it, it was everyone that has won a race that was at the track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, Casey's in Europe. Let's get him over. Let's not fly him in. Where was Lorenzo? Where was all these greats? Where was Doohan? Where was Gardner? Where was Wayne Rainey is a bit of an exception. Kevin Schwantz. They could bring in so many more, but
it didn't make sense to us. I mean, it did not make sense. And And I think that room for improvement, because I know F1, their 1000th Grand Prix, people knew about it 3 years ago. People were flying in from everywhere. They wanted it to be in China because it's the fastest growing,
Industry or
industry
demographic.
nation in the world. So it was in China. They moved Grand Prix around to get it into China because it's all about money, money, money.
Yeah.
But we still want that grassroots for MotoGP. We love that, of that feeling. But I feel like a Phillip Island, I'm not sure how you feel about, like, I know there's been some comments with Wayne Gardner during the week, not getting invited again down to the island. I'm not sure your thoughts on that off record. Wink, wink.
Off record. Yeah, it'll never go anywhere. Look, Wayne says he doesn't have an invite. He's a MotoGP legend. He can go to the race he wants to. He can go wherever he wants. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. Basically, he's not getting paid a lot of money to turn up, right? And that's it. And I don't get paid any money to turn up either, but I'm not Wayne Gardner and I don't pretend to be, and I haven't won a world championship. But it is a shame, but we have moved forward. And the Grand Prix Corp are doing something with Casey this year. So they've brought another Aussie world champion in. They do stuff with Doing at times. So, it's a hard one. And all of us riders have got a lot to thank Wayne for what he brought to this country. And he really got it on the map, and he was the first guy and he won those 2 fantastic races at Phillip Island. But we've had other great Aussies since. So we've got to use everyone, and there's not unlimited resources either to pay him and bring him out from Europe every year. So I get it from both sides. So it's a difficult one, but yeah, whether it should change tracks, I think Phillip Island makes for the best racing. Yeah. It's got some of the worst facilities in the world, but the racetrack itself makes for the best racing probably of the year. So I hope it stays there for a while, but let's wait and see. The bikes keep getting faster. The track becomes more dangerous because of that. So it's a tricky one for the Grand Prix Corp, for Phillip Island, for everyone to manage in the background.
Yeah, I mean, there's whispers in the paddock that Moto3 might not go to every round for the new regs, which is super interesting because they want this sounds ridiculous to me, and James and I laugh about it, but they want to fit all their freight, onto one plane.
Right.
So this is their goal, to fit all their freight onto one DHL plane, take it out to the overseas countries. And if with Moto2 growing so much,
which they want to cut.
Yeah, which they want to cut. Because we talk to sponsors and they go, we would love to have a team. We want a team like Foo Sports. They've been asking for a team for years. And they said, no way, we're full. And I'm like, for me, to grow the sport, more bikes on the grid, like that seems like a no-brainer. But obviously not.
That's a hard one, isn't it? I mean, when I raced Grand Prix, we went to Laguna, and it was only MotoGP class that went there at the time, and they ran AMA races. So it has happened in the past where they only won Premier category. But dropping, I thought Moto2 and Moto3 would go over together. I thought they might take MotoGP to 1 or 2 events, but yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's the inside goss from us. You got something from us.
To Laguna because that's all that could fit in the paddock.
Yeah.
Paddock's very small. So that's probably why. It was the same with World Superbike. They went there, Super Sport, Super Stock didn't go. There you go. Oh, I didn't know that. I hope they don't go that way.
It's interesting going back to the limited media thing and growing the sport. And I'm with you guys. I'm not convinced that it's going to turn into Formula One. And I think a big reason why it is so big Formula One is they have street races. And you can't have a street race on a MotoGP bike. Like a real fan, has to they have to camp in Tuscany
I know.
or go to Phillip Islands and it's 2 hours away from Melbourne. So like
you've got to be a bike
glamorous.
I know, but how cool would it be if they could make Albert Park safe enough and bikes? You know what I mean?
Would ever be in the case down the future? Would there be such advanced air fences and stuff to ever happen? Or it's just I mean, if anyone could do it, it's Libya Media. I'm telling you right now.
Well, that's exactly right. And it might happen. They might be able to, and if they get the right backing, like let's face it, the Grand Prix Corp is run in Australia it's a government funded organization, right? So the potential is there if you get the right people on board. So Liberty are the people that could make it happen. It'd be pretty cool if it could happen, but you don't want to lose the great tracks like Phillip Island, like Mugello for the real fans. And I think going back to it, my understanding is Formula One is technology, right? And it's pushing the limits of technology. MotoGP, motorbike racing should be about racing. Like we don't need to try and be as techie as Formula One. we're never going to be as techy. We're always going to be 10 years behind at minimum. Make it about the racing, make the racing great, make that exciting. And I think they need to concentrate on that and not worry about front tire pressures getting low or too high, or the guy can't pass because there's aerodynamic. That's not what MotoGP, that's not what motorbike racing is. It needs to be about the racing and make it exciting.
100%. And like Exhibit A is Moto3.
Thank you. Thank you. And finally, some Moto2 races have started to get exciting, you know, because that went through a lull for a long time. Because everyone could do the same lap time.
Yeah.
That's where we end up, you know, sort of thing. So, yeah, Moto3, how cool. It's just great to watch, isn't it, Moto3 racing at times, yeah.
It's incredible. And now, you know, I don't want to go back to the Marquez thing, but he's got his Spanish Mafia clan of Quiles and David Alonso, and it's like just another little feather in his cap.
It's going to be like, is it VR46 and MM93?
It's going to be something like that. Like you can just, it'll be like everyone's got pitchforks in the back of the paddock.
Oh, it is cool. And it's really cool what Valentino did for the sport.
Yes.
And it's great that Marc is putting back in and trying to help these young kids because it is daunting and to come through but just give experience and help these guys. You know, it's pretty cool, I reckon.
What do you make of David Alonso and his career so far? Because his Moto3 season last year was absolutely incredible.
Far out, wasn't it?
And like, you know, he obviously has so much talent, and then to win a Moto2 race in his first year, being injured as well. So he's had to come back from a long way back. I think he's going to be another special talent. Hopefully.
I really think he's good. I thought that about Acosta too, but you know, in MotoGP it hasn't shown. And is it the bike? I'm not saying. I don't know. Pedro was very special. Alonso for me is the same. Marc was the same, but Marc, as soon as he got on the big bike, was fast instantly in one race. Third race, and he was away in Austin, something like that, and won the championship in his first year. I mean, to get someone like that again, these guys are good, and Alonso will end up on a MotoGP bike within the next 2 to 3 years. But is he going to be another Marc?
It's hard to compare.
It's hard, but yeah, special and cool to watch.
I think nowadays as well, it's so hard to come onto these new bikes with all these electronics. Like it takes half a season just to, I think, get up to scratch with how they ride. Well, I just don't think we'll ever see a rider come in and win the first year anymore.
But we didn't even with Rossi, you know, right? We had Kenny Roberts and then we had Marquez. And Marc probably came in on the best motorbike at the best time. Casey had just gotten off the Honda. I mean, Honda had Danny Pedrosa and Casey Stoner, probably two of the best riders at the time. The bike was in a very good moment, and Marc got on probably the best bike. So if someone came into the factory Ducati now and was a sensation, you know, maybe it could happen. But you need all the stars to align. And you know, maybe it could have happened for Acosta, but getting on the KTM, it wasn't the best thing at the time. So we don't know where he's at really.
Yeah, that's right. Like. If he was on a Ducati, then he would be pulling.
He would have won races by now.
Yeah, race wins definitely, and it's and you know, look as Tom said before, like how Furman's going as well. Like he's obviously a slouch, but that Ducati is a big advantage compared to being on a Yamaha,
KTM,
like Quattararo. Yeah,
I mean, that's it exactly. If you were Marc Marquez and you got on a Yamaha now, you're not going to probably win race. Or you might win a race, but you're not going to win a championship, right? So yeah,
it's right. And like you look at Fermin Aldeguer and Fabio Quattararo. Let's be honest, Quattararo is a faster, better rider with a whole lot more experience, but Fermin Aldeguer,
he's the highest paid guy in the field for a reason, right? So
so it's still dominated by technology, and the best riders, you know, can ride around it to a certain degree, but at the moment and
I think that's going back to my statement before about Formula One and MotoGP. It's if it's not dominated by technology, the rider can still make more of a difference. I think the way we're going, the bikes and the engineers are making more of a difference.
Yeah.
And I'd like it to go back to where the rider can still make the difference. Yeah.
What do you think of Pirelli tyres coming through next couple of years?
That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for Pirelli. It's also going to be interesting for the riders, right? They've got to get their head around it. I remember my crew chief saying a few years ago, if we knew where tire development was going, we'd be able to make the perfect motorbike, right? Because your limiting factor is grip.
Yeah.
Out and out. So the way Pirelli tire works, from my experience riding them in Superbike, which is a very different bike, is they are very different to ride to a Bridgestone or a Michelin. So what are they going to bring, and how is that going to? Which bike is going to get there, and rider going to get their head around it the quickest? Which manufacturer and rider? And also, what's Pirelli going to be able to bring? Right, we never had any of this front tire issues. Pre-Michelin, right? Like it wasn't there. So is the Pirelli front tire going to be better? Are we going to take that away? Are their tires going to last the races? Are the lap times going to be as fast? They're going to be slow? I don't know, but I think it's going to be a big shake-up. I think to make a tire last on a MotoGP bike is very different to making it last on a Superbike or a Moto2 bike.
Especially for all that aero and everything like that. But I guess can they take a lot of that data from Moto2 and?
I don't. Yeah, they can take some, and they understand the tracks and the way that works. When I was racing in Grand Prix and we were on Bridgestones, for example, the Superbikes in the 8-hour tried to use our soft tire, and they couldn't even make it work. So from a Superbike to a MotoGP bike is that much difference. In a tire. It's just the rigidity of the chassis, the carbon brakes, the lighter, the way the engine produces the power. It's lots of things that you can get away with quite a hard carcass that the MotoGP bike needs, and that the Superbike can't push to generate the grip, right? So it'll be interesting. I hope Pirelli can make it work. I hope it's quite different and makes the racing exciting. But I think it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. Do you remember when Pirelli came into Formula One? The first couple, there was tires exploding and people complaining, and we couldn't make a tire last. And well, now they're a great tire, right? And they make the racing. So yeah, it might take a bit of time, but I think it will change the sport a little bit, hopefully for the better.
Yeah.
Just with it's been a fast this year with like Marquez going in behind to lower his tire pressure and all that. Like, that's not racing.
Nah.
That's
like,
not racing.
No one wants to see that. Like, that's been probably the biggest disappointment for me this year has been the time.
I know, and it sucks, doesn't it? And you watch Marc sit up, one hand on his side. He was making a point. Like, let's face it, he doesn't like it, but he knows what he has to do. And you just get in there until your warning light goes. And I mean, what a load of rubbish. But they can run. Let's face it, they can run whatever tire pressure they want all weekend until the race. But that's a rule in the race for safety. And I've got nothing against Pedro Acosta. I think he's great and what KTM have done. But I think it was last year when he got penalised, it might have been Buriram somewhere, and they found out that it was a crack in his rim and the rim was losing pressure. So he got to keep his points because that's not a safety issue.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm glad Pedro got to keep his points, and I'm glad he didn't get a penalty. But come on, where's the
it's
take that stuff away,
Yeah.
Common sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The crazy stat I just thought of before is with Pirelli coming in, if Marc Marquez was to win a title on Pirelli, would he be the first rider to win on 3 different tire manufacturers?
Because
fact.
Like Kenny Roberts was he would have won on Goodyears and then Dunlops.
Yeah.
But I don't think a third manufacturer. I think in those 3 championships he had, and then you've got everyone else. Look, it was Dunlop and Michelin for so long, and then Bridgestone.
Yeah.
Michelin. So yeah, me thinking about it, I don't have all the stats in front of me, but I'd say he would be, and that's pretty insane for me. That's a bigger thing than winning on 3 different manufacturers.
Oh, wow, there you go.
Yeah, because the tire is a bigger change. It's a massive thing. We're in different eras too, though. One make tire. If it was still tire manufacturers fighting against each other, it'd be very impressive. But yeah.
Or like when Rossi changed from Michelin to Bridgestone halfway through 2007, I think it was.
Yep. 2007, 7 or 8, yeah, around that time. Yep. That was a funny one though. Like, he was saying that Michelin wasn't competitive at the time, this is me reading into it, because Casey was on Bridgestones and dominated. Yes. Danny Pedrosa was actually leading the world championship on Michelin's at the time Rossi changed. So there you go. Yeah. So
were you running Bridgestones that
year?
We
were on Bridgestones. So it's funny, and I've had this chat with Casey since. So when Rossi, that's right, it would have been 2007. So we were on Suzuki was on Bridgestones from when I joined MotoGP. So I did 2 races on the Camel Honda on Michelin's. Joined Suzuki's. We were factory Bridgestone. Had some great success. There were times when our Bridgestones weren't as good as Michelin's. There were times we were better, right? So that's just fighting against other tire manufacturers. When we knew Rossi was going to Bridgestone, I rang my boss at Suzuki in Japan, and I said, we need to change to Michelin because we need to have something different to beat him. Not beat him in the championship, but beat him in the odd race, because that's what we were going to do. We weren't realistically, on a Suzuki, we weren't going to win the world championship. A good season, we might finish 3rd or 4th, but we might win 2 races, right? And that's a big deal for us. So I said, we need to change. And Casey said, it's funny, when I found out Valentino was going to Bridgestones, I rang my boss at Ducati and I said, we need to change to Michelin.
No way, how funny.
It's funny things. We didn't change because I don't have that much pull, and neither did Casey, but yeah, it's interesting that sometimes you think you need something different just to be able to beat the guy at different times, you know? So.
That's interesting. I would have thought the exact opposite, and that's why I'm only a podcaster. Because I'd be like, if the best, like one of the best guys is wanting to change, I'm like, I must be on the best.
Yeah.
To think that you have to then switch back over.
The Michelin was still a good tire, right, at the time. Yeah. We had great support from Bridgestone, and it worked really well on our bike. And maybe the Michelin would have been horrible on our bike. I don't know, but I never got to try it. But there you go. Yeah.
What do you think of Toprak going into MotoGP? And it's obviously you've done the same thing from World Superbikes.
It's exciting. It's the right move. I spoke to him earlier this season for quite a while about it, and I said, look, if you get the opportunity, I think you should go. Like, from a person, you've won everything there is here, right? You can stay and be like Johnny Ray and maybe try and win 6 championships or 7 and break his record. But if you want to go to MotoGP, now's your chance. And I don't think you'll get another opportunity after this, because there'll be so many Moto2 guys, etc., coming in. So I think it's cool. It's going to take him a little bit to get his head around it. It takes everyone a bit of time to get the way a MotoGP bike works. But I think Superbike is as close to Grand Prix now as it's ever been. The technology's there. The tyre is probably the biggest difference. But the bikes, like, honestly, those World Superbikes, they're not production bikes.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but you pull the fairings off them, they're more advanced than a MotoGP bike from 5 or 6 years ago, you know. So they've Superbike is very, very close to MotoGP now. Chassis are different and carbon brakes and a few things to learn. So yeah, I think it's exciting. I hope he gets his head around it. I'm going completely out and saying I don't think he's a Marquez beater, but I think he's a guy that will be on the podium a couple of times next year.
Interesting. Wow. Interesting. I'm probably more bullish on that. And I think he's going to struggle to make top 10s on a Yamaha. On a bike that Fabio Quartararo is struggling to make top 10s on. And
he has a couple of podiums this year, hasn't he?
He should have won Silverstone, let's be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest.
You're right. You're definitely right. But
they're going to have the this much anticipated V4 engine in a couple of weeks' time. So you got to remember that. That's going to make all the difference.
Different tires. So, like,
for him, different tires.
Different tires. Yeah. But for going into the season after, I think he's got a very good shot.
Yeah.
That first season, you know, I think there's a lot of unnecessary expectation on Toprak to just come in there and try and win or be podiums, and I just don't think it's realistic. I could be so wrong, obviously.
He's pretty impressive at the moment. Like, where's the level at in World Superbike? I think it's pretty high. And he is the fastest rider in that championship by a margin, I think. So I think I do completely agree with what you're saying. I don't know if the Yamaha is completely there. but I reckon he's got the speed to beat Quartararo in a few races. There you go.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's
Yeah.
an interesting
That's
take.
probably a better statement because we don't know where the Yamaha is at completely. And if the Yamaha's horrible next year, well, he's not going to get on the podium. But I think there'll be at times where he'll be in front of Quartararo.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that. And I truly hope so. Like, I love seeing riders go from World Superbikes to MotoGP. Like, I think it should be more common. Seeing like yourself, daughter Troy Bayliss or Nicky
Colin
Hayden
Edwards.
from AMA Superbikes. Like,
Yeah. And then we had Colin Edwards, Ben Spies.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few.
James Toseland.
Al Crutchlow, James Toseland.
Yeah.
Neil Hodgson did it back in the day. Ruben Zaus for a year. So there's been quite a few over the time. Yeah. Hasn't always been successful. Troy Corser did it back in like 96 and 97. Yeah, and then came back. He had the team folded that he was riding for in Grand Prix. But there's been quite a lot of riders that have had a go. Yeah.
What do you think of our Aussie Superbikes, Chris? Where's the direction that's going to go in the next couple of years?
I don't know because Superbikes and the whole the whole world basically. So AMA, Japan, the UK, Australia, World Superbikes. I think it's all going to change soon. They're talking about this next gen class. I don't know if you guys know much.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And I love the idea behind it. What they want is they want to make a class is more equal, so they could have 8 or 10 manufacturers. Triumph could be there, CF Moto, KTM, Ducati, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, all with different sorts of motorcycles. There might be a 765 Triumph and a 900 this but the ECU brings it back to a parity. So some bikes will be lighter and have more power, others will be less powerful, different strengths and weaknesses, basically. So I love the idea behind it. I'm not technical enough to understand if that's actually going to work and how they're going to do it. But I think it's fantastic. My only concern is the costs from a domestic championship. From a world championship, I can really see it. I think, and I don't know the whole ins and outs, but what I'm hearing is bikes are going to cost fully built and on the track around $100,000. But right, that's a lot of money for guys to go racing domestically.
Yeah.
But that's what an ASBK bike probably nearly costs you now if you want a front running Ducati. I think a Yamaha is not as much, but is the Yamaha as competitive as a Ducati? So it's a hard one, It's interesting. We had a 2+4. Our last ASBK round was with the V8 supercars at Queensland Raceway. The bikes were the fastest on a lap time. They were the highest top speed, and then there was V8 supercars, Super 2s, Porsche Carreras, other car classes, and then superbikes. So the bikes were the fastest top speed, fastest lap time, and the cheapest form of motorsport by a mile, right? Car racers think $100,000 to build something to go that fast. How cheap is that, right?
Yeah.
From bike races, it's expensive to go racing, and we need to keep it realistic. So, look, the next gen is a thing. Whether it's going to be the premier class, I don't know. Is Superbike going to stay? Because there's talk that Yamaha are going to stop making the R1 soon. What are all the manufacturers doing with their big 1000cc bike? They don't sell much around the world. It's a tough time. I think we're not far away for some big changes in the sport, but not only in ASBK, but right around the world. But what I would love and what I do like about the next gen thing is if all the domestic championships do have the same category, that we can go back to the old days where World Superbikes come to Phillip Island, and we're going to have 3 or 4 wild cards, and the guys can score points and challenge. And we go to England, and we have the same thing. And we go to Japan, and we go to America. And they were cool times.
Yeah,
you used to watch it. And I hope we could get back to that. And that gives young kids opportunities to hopefully make it to the World Championship again.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's so true. That's exactly what it needs. And, we want nothing but the best for Aussie Superbikes. And we'll be down there this weekend, but
yep.
It still needs to get coverage and people to the event.
Thank you.
And to the, and
I was talking to Tom Bramage today, and I said, any tickets lying around for us, Tom? He goes, mate, I've got 5. I got given 5 tickets, and they have to go to the mechanics.
Yep. And that's how the sport runs, right?
Yeah.
So, And I see it from both sides. So I've been a rider, and now I work for Motorcycling Australia doing the TV stuff. So MA are the promoters. So they're the organisation, the governing body of our sport, and they are the promoters for Pro MX in Australia and UK. And I think they do a great job with the budget they have. But let's face it, most of the money comes from the guys that are on the track. So that's how the sport runs. Now for them, and I agree, we want and need more publicity, but they pay and produce their own TV show. So the TV comes out, all that cameras, the people running it, like all of us being there, it all costs money. So it has to come from somewhere, right? Yeah. And I completely get that. So it's a difficult one, and they want to make it grow, but how do you do it? You know, our sport is not a big. We're part of Sport Australia, like all. But we don't get the coverage or the backing like cricket or AFL or NRL or these sorts of sports. And I don't think we ever will. But how do we go about making it bigger? Oh, I'm not the person to do it because I wouldn't have a clue. But it's not an easy one to do. You know? Is
there any government money coming towards sort of grassroots motorcycle racing?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I work for MA, but I'm way out of that loop. I imagine there is, but our sport is basically funded from. It's everyone that has a license, an MA license, right? And that goes through, and then they're a member of a club, and that's how the motorcycling sport changes. So everyone that has a license is actually somebody that can make a change to this sport, and that's how the changes have to come. I think they have to come from grassroots. They won't start at the top. It has to start at club level and through to the clubs, and then the clubs are what controls the state bodies, and the state bodies then control MA. So it all comes from anyone that's got a Motorcycling Australia license. That's where it comes from, and it has to start at grassroots level. But you know, most of these guys that have licenses, they just want to go and ride their bikes. They just want to go and have fun. They don't want to think about how do we make this sport better. We just want to go out there and have a good time on our bikes. So it's it's not an easy one.
It's not an easy one. I think a great start would be obviously, you know, getting the younger generation involved, whoever that is, you know, showcasing the personalities, and like we would be able to help with this, but like guys like Jack Mahaffey or Bramage or, you know, those, like obviously I'm saying them because I know them, but like the younger guys that have a bit of, you know, like motorbike guys are still pretty edgy type of guys. So like showing their personality is a good way of doing it. Another idea is like putting them in with V8 supercars. You know, if you got 5 rounds a year, 5 rounds with V8s, and it's automatic that the track's already there. You've got all these extra fans that will be like, you know, we're watching bikes today as well. Like, how good's that? It's more racing. And then, you know, you're already doing it for 1 round.
That's right.
You could do it at multiple rounds.
Yeah, so I think it was great that they went back there this year. So they didn't do the round with the V8s last year. So that was a great thing to come back to. They do the round at World Superbikes. I mean, they are trying to get out there and do other things. You're right. It is the way we need to get more people involved and to enjoy the sport like we do. So there's lots of ways to go about it. And that's pretty much why I really enjoy doing ASBK with the TV side. It's basically because I love being at the track. It's where I started racing. I started in Queensland Championship and then moved to ASBK and then moved overseas. So being able to help these young kids, I completely agree. But we'd love to make it bigger. That's what we're trying to do. But or everyone there would love to do. But
it's all money.
It's all money. It's money, isn't it? You know, and it's motorsport. It's not cheap. You know, these guys have got to spend lots of money for their tires and their bikes, and like you say, and then their entry fees, and they only get 5 passes, and then you got to go and buy more passes, and it's I don't know how much to get in. You know, there's so many elements to it, and travel up and down the east coast of the country. It's there's a lot involved.
100%, there's a lot. The other thing I wanted to ask you as well is basically next tier up, but World Superbikes. I find it interesting how they're going, and I guess their crowd numbers and what people are watching. Because I can see MotoGP bubbling at the surface. Like there's influencers out there now for it, kind of like Formula One to a degree, but World Superbikes is in like a funny time at the moment where I don't even know if it knows what it is. to a degree.
I don't know the whole ins and outs. Did Liberty end up did they buy that as well? Was that that was part of
Yep.
so they've got it all. And I think that's when World Superbike changed for me, was when Dorna bought it from Flamini, right? And it's almost like they wanted to buy it and then put it below MotoGP, because at a time it was as popular as Grand Prix racing or MotoGP. It was never considered a Grand Prix, but it was as popular. So it's interesting, and I think that was a Dorna thing. So what will Liberty do with it? Because that's what's gonna change it, if anything does. If they're the owners of it now, what do they want to make out of this championship?
Yeah, it's a hard one, and I would love to know how to kind of bring it back, because like I was speaking to Scott Redding about this when we had him on the pod. It's a European championship with
one round at Phillip Island. I know. World Superbike used to be insane. I used to go to Japan, Malaysia, Australia, South America, South Africa. Like, there was so many races when I first started. And when I first started in World Supersport, when Flamini owned it, it was such a family run event, but yet it was so big and there was so much popularity about it. Especially in Italy, it was bigger than Grand Prix racing for a long time there. In the UK as well. It was a cool championship to be involved in, but definitely changed since Dorna owned it. And let's face it, Dorna had their priorities. It was MotoGP, and Superbike is the poorer cousin. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, thanks, Chris. That was really good.
Yeah.
Don't want to take up too much of your night, mate. You got
no worries. No, that's
kids
cool.
And Tony and
get them ready for bed. Oh, they'll get me ready.
What's the time difference up there?
No, it's the same now. 8:15. Is that right?
Oh, same.
Hey,
we got daylight savings down here soon, mate. We're a bit different.
I know. I was looking at, someone was asking me, when's that? It's about a month away, isn't it?
It's like the 3rd of October or something.
Just before Phillip Island, luckily.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're lucky. We can't have it up here. The cows. The cows won't know when to be milked.
Ridiculous thing ever.
Oh, tell me about it.
Are you still living the best state, though? Don't worry. It's all happening down here at the moment.
Yeah. There's pros and cons. Oh, yeah, you got a madman running around with a shotgun or something.
Everyone's protesting. There's a bit going on, so.
Yeah, that's Melbourne for you. Nothing's changed.
Right. Well, I just hide in my own little world up here.
Yeah.
Love it, mate. Appreciate it. We'll see you on probably Sunday then. We'll catch up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, come and say good day. Sounds good.
Thanks for coming on, Chris.
No worries. Anytime.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
see
guys.
you, mate. Have a good one.